Hello everybody, this is TL ROM Hacks, and this will be a video tutorial for how to get set up to play my Donkey Kong 64 ROM hack called Tag Anywhere Plus. This should be a two-part series, pretty simple setup. And before we get into the actual first step here, I wanted to talk about some prerequisites you will need in order to get yourself in the best playing experience possible. The first thing you'll need to do before we start the first step is to have your own Donkey Kong 64 ROM. That is this file here on the computer for me. For legal reasons, I cannot distribute an original Nintendo 64 ROM to people. So when you download Tag Anywhere Plus, what you are downloading is a patch of additional code that I've developed. We'll basically glue that patch onto the original game copy that you have so that you get the total experience of Tag Anywhere Plus. The second prerequisite we will need is just an emulator. An emulator, if you don't know, is simply a program we use on our computer to play either original Nintendo 64 ROMs that you've gotten or any type of ROM hack you might have gotten from various games from different creators. For this specific tutorial and for Tag Anywhere Plus, I heavily encourage and recommend the RetroArch emulator with the Mupen core. I have tested and played on different environments and different emulators, but pretty exclusively this has been developed with RetroArch and Mupen in mind. So feel free to have your own setup with what works for you, but I would again just encourage RetroArch and Mupen. If you're not familiar with that setup or you don't have that, there's a lot of really simple and easy tutorials on YouTube or other places on the internet. So I'll let you get those things set up. Assuming that you've got both of those things, your emulator set up with the Mupen core as well as your original ROM for Donkey Kong 64, the first step that we will do to get Tag Anywhere Plus up and running is to just download the patch itself. Usually in videos, I'm going to put a link to GitHub, which is where I host all the releases for the patches that you can download. So once you download one of the releases, it will most likely come in this format of a zipped folder. And the first thing we'll do is just simply unzip that folder. I like 7-zip personally. You can use whatever utility you want to unzip the folder, but 7-zip is just what I use. So I will extract here. That is going to place that folder on my other screen. So I'll drag it here and drag this zipped one off so it's not confusing. The next thing I'll do is I'll just take my ROM here and I'm going to put it in this folder. This just makes the patching process a little bit easier to track things. We'll open up the folder itself and we have a very few basic files here. The ROM we just moved into here, a few text files, and then at the very bottom we have a .bps. The .bps is our patch that we'll be applying to the game itself. We'll use some of these other text files in our second step setup, but for the case of just this first step of getting the game patched and all glued together, I've included just a simple patcher website. It's just a text file. And what this is a link to a website where you can patch any Nintendo 64 game with any ROM hack patch that you might have downloaded. You don't have to use this specific website or this specific tool. If you have a favorite tool, a different tool, that's totally fine. I just have included this one because it's pretty convenient and pretty easy. So I've copied that website. I'm going to open up a web browser, bring it over here, and go to that website. And the UI here is pretty simple. We'll pick our ROM, which is Donkey Kong 64. And then we'll pick the patch, which is the Tag Anywhere Plus patch, the .bps. And then when it comes to the save as, you're welcome to change the name. I like to keep it as it is because it makes it pretty easy to understand what I'm actually downloading or what I'm actually patching. So I'll hit the patch button. And it's a pretty quick process. For me, that probably stored that in my downloads folder. So I will go to downloads. And there's the full, original game plus the patch on top. The second step we'll go through in the next video is going to make it so that when you play the game and you save and quit and, turn it off and come back later, when you come back, your save data is actually still there. So technically this first step here, everything is patched and playable, but please don't just stop here. Please at least check out the second video. Unless you use save states or you don't do the second step, that set up properly, you could run into a situation where you have a lot of fun and you play, and then the next time you come back, all of that progress is gone. But really simple, that is the first step of just patching the game. From here, you can take your patched ROM and you can throw it into RetroArch, wherever you keep all of your ROMs, your directory. That setup is different from person to person, but from that angle, you are pretty much ready to go, barring the save registration setup that we'll go over in the next video. So thank you very much for your time, and I will see you in the next video.